Good morning, good morning, good morning, you lovely lot. I'm having grapes, yoghurt and cheese for my breakfast. It's a rather dull and chilly day out there today. Bit of rain, very overcast, windy. I do plan on spending some of today at Winchester Cathedral though, so that will be dry at least. It's about 10 o'clock. And I'm being lazy and I'm trying to remind myself it's okay not to jump up and do stuff. And that's what being away is. I can be lazy. I'm only about an hour from home. Although when I go to Winchester it will be a bit longer. But I need to remember there's no rush. Just take it, even if I don't get to Winchester till lunchtime. I've still got several hours to go and explore. So just take it easy. That's what I'm doing. Oh, taking it easy. It's 11 o'clock and I have got my lazy butt out of bed. I have put it all back together. I've put the cover over it because I'm not sleeping in it tonight, and this cover is here to protect my bedding when the dogs get on. So that is all ready for using the van as my daily drive. I'm just going to get rid of the water, which is literally just water that I've washed my hands in. So I'm happy to pour that outside on the grass. There's nothing nasty in that. And any soap that I use is actually eco-friendly. So I'm not worried about disposing of that on the grass. Empty my kettle water and then stash everything away and head off to Winchester. Fancy coming with me? Oh, go on, you know you want to. It's a bit later than I had planned. I was about to leave when we last spoke, but there was a bit of an incident in the car park, which I'm not going to go into now. I was not involved in the incident. I literally just sort of sat back and discreetly kept an eye on the situation to decide what I needed to do about it, if anything. So yes, I won't go into that right now. I might discuss it in a later video discreetly and briefly, but yeah, that meant that I ended up leaving a good sort of 40 minutes later than I had planned. So it's now lunchtime. I've just arrived in Winchester. There is something going on in the town centre because it was all closed off. Some sort of market, I think. I want to go and have a little look around the cathedral, but I'm going to do, I think, 6 hours in this car park. I can't actually remember what the car park's called. I'll put it on the screen up here if I find out. And I'm going to go and find some lunch, actually, because I'm quite hungry. Yeah, the parking spaces are quite small in this car park. I'm a little bit concerned that the car next to me, they're not going to get into the driving seat, but I can't move over any further, otherwise I won't get out of my driving seat. I suspect they've parked a bit far over in their bay, but I don't know. I mean, maybe their car's just very wide. Who knows? I'm sure I'll be being cursed later on.
Can't be won yesterday. Break a 4-hour pay.
So I found the cathedral. It's a bit hard to miss really because, you know, it's big, it's a cathedral. But actually I couldn't see it because the shops are in the way. Now apparently this part that I am walking down used to be inside the gates and used to be part of the burial ground. And then it all changed because market stalls sprung up, and those market stalls became permanent shops. Now there's something you don't see very often, picnicking among the gravestones. Let's go and have a little look at the cathedral, shall we? My goodness, that does look pretty magnificent, doesn't it? The architecture and the detail. Always amazed by churches and cathedrals. Not that I'm religious in any way, shape or form, but they are pretty magnificent buildings. I got in using my student card and I got in for £6.50, and that actually is a ticket that will last the entire year. I mean, just look at that architecture. I'm just I find it amazing. I mean, it's wonderful to see in books, but it's something else to actually stand in it in person. I can't imagine building anything so perfect and on such a huge scale. Your ticket also allows you to have the guided tours as well. So that's all included in the price. There are no guided tours today. But my ticket lasts a year, so I can come back at any point. Oh my goodness. Okay, I hadn't looked at that. Bishop Eddington, William Eddington. He was the Winchester bishop in 1346 until 1366. He was also King Edward III's treasurer. My goodness, this bench is so old. It's 13th century, it says, and there's actually medieval red paint chips still on it. And actually there's also evidence to suggest that at some point it was used as a garden ornament, and it survived all of that and is still here now. Just looking at this carving, I mean, there's so many details, it's just stunning, but it's like little, I don't know, what are they, pixies? A little guy there with his helmet on. It's like, not helmet, little hat. There's dragons on that side. I can't work out if those are like little dragons or... It doesn't have any wings, does it? Maybe some other creature? Look at the detail on these faces. And there is my hand, just to give you context as to how tiny they are. I'm wondering if these are actual carvings of real people that lived once, or if they are just someone's imaginings. It's amazing to think that this was built in the 1840s and took about 20 years for them to put up. I love the blue and the stars. It makes it feel like it's sky up there. And then it goes all the way up there. Beautiful painted area on the ceiling. This high altar has a 15th century screen, which I guess is that initial bit with places for the statues to stand. These are not the original statues. Apparently these were replaced in Victorian era due to the Reformation. Most of these were taken down and smashed up, beheaded, thrown around the grounds. They would have been really well painted, like really ornate. The cross would have been gold. There would have been reds and blues and greens and lots of bright colours. Not how it stands now. And there are people on here that you wouldn't have had on originally. Queen Victoria would not have been on there to start with. Now, that chap there with the staff in the middle, that is St Swithin. And he actually performed a miracle in Winchester. It is said he performed the miracle of the eggs. A lady tripped over while crossing a bridge in Winchester, dropped her basket of eggs. They all smashed onto the floor. And then he bent down and picked them up. Well, he didn't. He picked up the basket and handed the basket back to her. And it is said that the eggs were all intact when he passed them back to her. So there you go. That was the miracle of St Swithin. I think he's known as well for healing people. Apparently the cathedral in its very early days, before it was a cathedral, in its very, very early days, had a lot of crutches and stools that were used by the disabled people of the times that, you know, had come here for healing, and that miracles had been performed, healing had been performed, and they left their crutches behind because they didn't need them anymore. And that chap there is King Canute, and his wife Emma is on the other side, looking lovingly across to each other. Apparently King Canute's bones are in one of the chests. I don't know which one. I'm imagining the crests under the chests actually might depict who is in each one. If I knew the coat of arms for each person, that would help, I guess. There we go, talking about the chests. Still doesn't say which one he's in, but those are all the people that are interred in the chests across the top there. These ceilings are wooden, as opposed to further down where they are stone. And that's because they worked out by the sort of 15th century that putting too much weight on the roof was not a good idea, but it also meant that they could be more decorative, and they've put this story across the top. That first part of the story over there is Jesus's journey to the cross, and then as we go down we have the arms of, I believe, kings and queens. And this over here is the cathedra. That is the very fancy bishop's chair. You can't have a cathedral without a cathedra. Beautiful stained glass windows. So much colour. If you imagine all the colour from the stained glass windows and the coloured statues, it would have been really bright. There was a lot of gold leaf and what have you put on the statues and the plasterwork. My goodness. This I actually find quite horrific. Look at the face, and then look how emaciated he was. Wow, I'm not sure why he was depicted in that way. His name is Bishop Fox, and he was bishop here between 1501 and 1528, and actually he founded Corpus Christi College in Oxford, back in my neck of the woods. But oh my goodness, doesn't he just look, I mean, he looks in pain, and he looks, I would not want, look at how deep his rib cage is. He's just covering up his modesty there with what looks to be a bit of fabric. But he is literally skin and bones. I do love my old doors. These are beautiful. I think that colouring is more true to what it would have been like all over the church, all over the cathedral in earlier years. I find this really interesting. So these walls have the original paintings from the 16th century, which depict the legends of the miracles of Mary. But they're all hidden behind these panels here, which have been put up to protect the original paintings, but so that we can see what they're going to, what they would have looked like in their day. This person with a plant growing out of their mouth. This particular miracle was Mary protecting a ship from a storm. I'm assuming it was a vision of Mary and not actually Mary. That one's really interesting. This is a monk that's drowned, and his soul is being fought over there by angels and demons. You can see the demons there flying in. But apparently with Mary's help, Virgin Mary's help, the angels won and took his soul to heaven. This is the shrine of St Swithin, and he was bishop here at Winchester between 852 and 862. So not very long really. And I've heard this before, St Swithin's day, if thou dost reign for 40 days, it will remain. If thou be fair for 40 days, 'twill rain no more. All the guardian angels painted on the ceiling. That was back in the 1200s that was originally painted, and then it has been restored many times since, I would imagine.
Have a look at the rest of the shop. Yes, the last side.
This reminds me a little bit the scene in the labyrinth with this little guy on the wall. Hello, come in and see the missus. You can just picture picture him, can't you? Popping out of here somewhere. That's what this reminds me of, these little doors in the walls. Which way? Which way do you want to go? I have no idea. This way. Down more windy alleys. I'm heading for a park, which I suspect is behind this wall, but I can't be 100% sure. I'm kind of relying on Pokemon Go, which has got me out of trouble many times. Yes. Oh, they've got a wine room and a bar. Do they have a cup of tea spot? Because that would be quite nice. I'll be honest, that looked a bit like a posh restaurant-y thing. So I'm going to go into town and see if I can find somewhere that will do me a cuppa. Statue of King Alfred. Just stopped in that lovely chocolatier for a cup of tea before I hit the road, and there was a lovely family, a mum, her daughter-in-law and her granddaughter and her grandson. Her granddaughter was 5 weeks old, so sweet. They were sat next to me and I could hear that the daughter and son-in-law were having a bit of a hard time with the lad, the little boy, and he's, I think she said he was 3.5, nearly 4, and she was just dealing with him really well. She was being really clear with him and saying, I don't want to listen to your noise. That's a lot of whining and there's no need for it. Can you speak to me? And he has the vocabulary, but she was just doing it with so much love and kindness as well. She was saying to him, I want to cuddle you, but I'm not going to cuddle you while you're making that noise. Please, can you speak nicely to me? And I said to Grandma while I was talking, I said, you know, she's doing a really good job there. She's really speaking to him. She's giving him clear boundaries, but she's being really kind about it as well and really loving, and she's doing it with love. And she said, oh, I need to tell her that because she's really struggling. And we just had a lovely chat, and then just before they left she said to me, have you got any strategies that you would suggest for dealing with somebody, you know, for a little boy who is struggling with things like tiredness, when he needs the toilet, when he's hungry, those sorts of triggers that he then just becomes really sort of angry and volatile. And I said to her, you know, you're doing really well with what you're doing. Just gave her a couple of ideas and just reassured her that she was doing a really good job. So hopefully I've helped that person a little bit, feeling good about themselves and their abilities. So anyway, I'm going to hit the road now and head home. It's about 4:20. I lost the car. Now I found the car. I stupidly didn't think about what car park I'd parked in. And that's a problem when you don't know the area. Had no idea what direction to even walk in. So yes, now I've located Spog, I've paid for my parking, I need to leave. So I will see you when I get back home. And if I don't see you, I'm going to say now, thank you very much for watching, you lovely lot. I hope you've enjoyed my adventures, and I'll see you all tomorrow.